Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's great to be here with you. I'm continuing my Korean mythology girl in Mythic World by Kerby Rosanes, and I'm not going to work more on the background right now. I want to get more of the page worked on, so I'm going to come in with some Inktense pencils and I'm going to start working on the buildings and possibly even the skull, and then I might jump onto the trees again. So we're going to go gently and see how things go. I hope that you are all well and had a good weekend. I'm just going to zoom you in more to the bottom of the page, as that's going to be what we're focusing on. Okay, let's have a look. So we'll zoom you in a bit more. Right, there we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a Sicilian Yellow, which is 0220 if you have Inktense pencils, and I'm going to place it pretty much all over this area here. I might bring in some reds onto this sort of like, I think it's a ruined temple, and I like the idea of some of those reds from the tail kind of coming down here. It just brings it down a little bit. But I really like the idea of this being, how do I put it? A white stone. Like a, not quite chalk, but it's got a white yellowish tinge to it instead of, you know, grey stone. I might bring in some Paynes Grey to help with shadows. I do like the combination of Paynes Grey into yellow, so that could actually benefit us. So I've got that on hand. We've got water nearby and a dishcloth, an old dishcloth. Hi Noelle, how are you? I hope you are well. Okay, so I do have with me a palette, which I think I might use. It is a little bit gunky, but we can make it work. So here, I take the crayon, and I'm just going to scratch on the rough side of this palette some of the ink tints, and then using a paintbrush, I'm going to activate that and create more of the paints. I don't mind it being more watered down because I actually want it quite light. Yeah, I'm doing all right, thank you. I'm a bit tired today, but I'm sure I just need a good night's sleep. Okay, so really get the brush soaking up all that pigment. Hi Kenny, how are you? So the only thing with using this method with Inktense, what it does is it gives you quite a nice finish, but it also can take a lot more layers because you're building up the color really gently and slowly. Hi Tani, how are you? Welcome. Now I don't want it yellow, if you know what I mean. I want these stones to have like traces of yellow, maybe a bit of Paynes Grey, and then I want the white to really kind of dominate. Hi Carly, how are you? Right, so over here, this is quite dark, so I don't need to worry about being too careful there. So if you make a mistake and you're quick, you can just dab and pull up a lot more of that pigment. It still stains, as you can see, it still stains, but it's not too bad that you can't go over it. And sorry, I'm really tired, so my brain is going to lag. Please excuse me. It's been lagging all day. I was trying to do some stuff with the boys this afternoon, some learning, and I wasn't 100% sure how it was going to work out because my brain was lagging so much. Oh, thank you so much, Carly. I'm so glad you liked them. I haven't finished uploading on Instagram all the pages, but I'm going to need to put up the rest so I can hopefully be part of the color alongs, you know, those hashtags. I did film my coloring goals for 2025, but I'm having some camera issues, and in the video, which I need to edit and kind of work on, I mentioned how participating in more Instagram things is part of my goals for the year. So I've managed to do a few this month, and I can't wait to actually do my end of the month video. I know, this month has gone by really, really fast. It just doesn't end. Now I don't mind some yellow kind of like going out. And then if I really want, if I'm quick enough and have water, we can kind of blend it out a bit more like this. And then you're getting a very soft tinge going on. And I think this part could probably be a bit goldish. So I've decided with my tree trunks, I'm going to keep them green, and I'm going to just add some shadows, and I'll fix it with pencils. I don't have the courage to fix it without pencils. Wow, 4 days left to finish your vibrant page. Oh, you can do it. Is it a lot of details in your page? Right, so I've got to be careful here that I make sure. So I'm thinking this yellow can be more like a mid-tone. And I'll show you what I mean with the Paynes Grey. So you could do it this way, or you could lift up the pigment straight off the pencil. It's really up to you. those are the three ways I know. Pencil direct onto paper, off the tip with a paintbrush, or on a palette, and then you can treat it like paint. It will still behave like Inktense, but you have a bit more control if it's on like a palette. I've got a lot of liquid on there. Oh wow, Alien Worlds, awesome. I still need to get into Alien Worlds. I haven't got into it this month. I finished a whip in a different Kerby book, but I didn't do that like alien crystal lion type one, which I had hoped to get to. I've heard so many people say Alien's World is not their favorite. Oh, Tani, I'm so glad that you have been able to join the live stream. I don't know what it is about Alien World that didn't work for people. I don't know if it's the paper quality dropped or if it was the style. Hi Dawn, how are you? Oh, it's too creepy for you. I get that. I thought so too, and then I started looking at nature and I thought, yeah, nature's pretty creepy. And then, you know, when I look at mythology, there's some creepy stuff in mythology. So I thought, okay, no, it's probably okay. At least that way I can interpret the creepiness a bit more into what my poor little brain can handle. Oh dear. Oh yeah, I hear you about having to really think outside the box. It's hard, and I admire people who are able to think outside the box so easily. It's like, wow. I mean, I've come across a couple of artists or people who also color in, and the way they interpret coloring is just totally different to how I would, and it still works and it's really beautiful. So it's always very encouraging because there's no one correct way of doing coloring or art. It's just your flavor, your style. And I think that can be really freeing. Right, so I love that Kerby shows us where the very dark places are and where the not so dark places are. Makes his books so much easier to work in. Now what I can do is take some of this pigment, mix it in with the Paynes Grey, and it will go like a greeny sort of mixture. And that's because the Paynes Grey has tints of blue in it, and blue mixed with yellow makes green. Which means I can tie in some of my weird tree colors. Hey Jody, how are you? Some of you don't have the box to begin with. Oh, I love that. Sometimes I do wish I didn't have the box. It can be very annoying. Okay, so I need a bit more yellow. Just scratch it in. I did try to clean this palette, and I think I need to try rewash it because it hasn't worked out very well. Alright, so like this is going more yellowy. I'm starting to question whether this is a good idea. Maybe I should just use pencil. I don't know if it would be quicker. Oh, no, don't worry, Kenny. What were you reading? Right, so more Paynes Grey. Sometimes it helps to let it dry a little bit, and then you can go in. You can just put in a bit of grey. Oh, that is such a great point, Pickle. The world is full of enough rules. Sometimes we do just need to let go. I think that's what I love about art. whether it's coloring or drawing or whatever form you want to put to it, poetry, writing. What I really love about it is that when you get into it, it's a time where your brain actually can rest and shut off from the pressures of the world, of life, the pressures we put onto ourselves, and we can just unwind. I read recently about a particular person's view that having many different things to do or different hobbies is really good, because you're giving certain parts of your brain a break, and you're exercising different parts. And basically what the person was saying is that it's good for you and it's good for your brain. And I think that's the beauty of whether we go outside for a walk, you're just moving around, breathing in fresh air, getting just a different experience. And then when you're thinking, you're exercising different part of your brain. But when you do art, you can switch off certain parts and really just focus without actually having to worry about much. And I quite like that, May not work for everyone, and I appreciate that. But I think it is good to do other things and not just have my thinking brain on all the time. Oh, I don't know, Miss Bourne. That sounds great. What's it about? I am reading too much. And I'm currently reading a book called Wolf Hall. So it takes place during the Tudor times, and it's kind of like more Thomas Cromwell's story. A friend got it for me for Christmas. So I'm reading that between reading my 14-year-old's books for school, because we use a lot more of classical literature, and they're books I never got to read, so I'm reading his books. So yeah, I have a lot of reading going on. And then I read to my other two children majority of their work, because they both have dyslexia at varying degrees, so it's quite hard for them to read all their books. And they don't always like audiobooks. So it's fun. Get to read all sorts of things. There is something very therapeutic about a paintbrush. Even if you're not really good at painting, like me, it's not an extension of my hand, but it is therapeutic. It's different to pencils. Right, she's going to have, I was thinking of doing her kimono red. But then she's got like this skirt thingy, and I don't want that to be red. So that's tricky, because if I make her kimono red, actually then all of this needs to be red. Connie, how are you? Oh wow, Kenny, your daughter has dyslexia. Yeah, I can imagine it was hard for her. I mean, these days there's like, you can get tutoring and all of that, but it costs a pretty penny. Managed to find something for my boys that I can work with them, and it has helped a lot, because yeah, tutoring is very expensive. But it's more, I've said to them, like, you know, it's more about just finding out what works for them, how they learn, and then doing that. And, you know, spelling doesn't need to be a huge issue, because these days we've got spell checkers and all that sort of thing. So where they need help, I help them, so that they can spell correctly when they want to, but I don't make a huge pressure on them for it, because, you know, I've also come across some really rough stories from other people's experiences in support groups, and that's oh, that's really helpful. I'm glad she had a teacher who showed her how to work around it. That's very fortunate. Right, so using the Paynes Grey, I might need some more. Oh, what page are you busy with, Connie? Looks like it's a Kerby month. Exactly, we adapt in different ways. There's so many little grooves and corners around here. My goodness me. You might all have me colouring just stones for 2 hours with a paintbrush. My goodness. Oh wow, the crown with roses and Wondermorphia. That's awesome. Oh Dawn, are you hungry? You got something you can eat, or go have a snack? There are moments throughout the day where I'm like, I'm hungry. I quite like having a nibble on some fruit when I'm hungry. You know, if it's not yet a meal time. Oh, I know the Kerby Gorilla in Fragile World. That's awesome that you're using watercolors. How's it going? I actually don't mind if this mixes into a bit of a greeny thing, because it can look like it's got some moss or algae growing on it, which I think could actually work quite well. You're not good with a paintbrush. Don't worry, I don't think I'm very good at it either. I'm out of the lines most of the time. But the only way to get better is to keep trying, so, you know, we'll keep trying. What colors are you using in your Gorilla page? So many nooks and crannies, my goodness me. This whole place is going to be a labor of love. Oh wow, that sounds beautiful. Black and grey with pink, purpley, blue background. That really sounds lovely. No worries, Tani. I'm actually still tempted to use pencils on top of all of this. I think it would probably make the colors pop. Otherwise I'm going to be layering Inktense pencils for days. Days upon days upon days. What do you think of gel sticks? I've seen a few people use them and yeah, they fascinate me. I haven't gone and gotten any gel sticks, but I am fascinated by them. They seem to give a very smooth finish. Bye, Tani. Thanks so much for stopping by and for saying hi. Have a great rest of your day. So yeah, gel sticks are good for backgrounds. I came across someone's coloring, I think it was on Instagram, and they used, I think it was gel sticks to do the bulk of their page with like water and all of that. I was really impressed to see how they did it, and then they went over it with pencils. Right, I think I might stop this for a little bit because it's really, I'm going to do the same process, but I might come in with pencils on the bits here that are dry and do them up. Okay. Let's see, if I bring pencils into this now, Okay, so I'm going to bring out some polys. So we'll use some cream. And I'll bring in some maybe greys, maybe a warm grey. Okay. So be careful with this now. Okay. So I have green gold, cream, and warm grey. So if I take like the warm grey, welcome back, Dawn. Okay, so I'm just gonna alternate between these colors and see how it goes. I might end up with more yellow brickwork than I'd like, so I need to be careful. I don't necessarily want yellow, I want like a creamy white. Right, see, I think that probably pops a lot better. I might put in a little bit here. Okay. Right, I'm gonna hop around a bit because that to me now looks really good. So just quickly kind of like go in here, just darken this all up. Can be quick with my pressure. Her dress thingy goes really weird. Like, where are we going? Okay, so technically with polys you should go darkest to lightest. No, sorry, the other way. Lightest to darkest and back again. I still always, like with this sort of stuff, prefer to go dark then light, but that's because I want to see where everything is going and where I need everything to be. And then what I'm trying to make sure I do is just blend it out a bit better, because I risk with this color combo, I risk my blend not being very smooth. Right, so that looks a bit more like I had envisioned, so that's a great color combo. So I'll do a little bit more. The only problem with doing it dark to light is it's easy to put too much dark down and not enough highlight. So yeah, because I need her to stand out, but it's so tricky knowing what to push back and what to bring out. Oh, thank you. Glad you like it. Oh, how long to take to do a page? Depends on the page. A page like this, probably 6 to 8 hours, depending how much I want to work on it. If I try color fast, I could probably do 4 to 6 hours on one spread, just one page. I wish I could color faster, and I do think things like Inktense pencils or alcohol markers as a base, whatever you use as a base, I think it does help. My biggest challenge is I always want very saturated colors, and to get saturated I need to generally add pencils or more layers, and that just tends to take time. Oh, really? It took a long time to do a big page. Yeah, they normally do take a long time. I find double page spreads, I take even longer. Unless it's a lot of background. So backgrounds can be quite quick. I think it all just depends on how a person approaches a coloring page, what mediums you use, how you want it to look. I really like how this is looking. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have green tree trunks, and I'll use this sort of green gold and maybe some ochres and maybe the cream as a highlight, and sort of use that to create the leaves of the trees. But I'll try not to make them too built up so that they stay more in the background and the ruins and her kind of come out. And if we need to, we can even bring in white, but I don't think it will be necessary. Okay, so that's kind of how I'm going to do the stonework. I'm going to bring up the same grey kind of up here into the tail area here. Now, you can do this with Inktense if you want, and all you're doing is just deepening the shadow areas. I really get that feeling too, not knowing when to say it's done and just keep going. All right, I'm going to bring her down a bit more. The nice thing with doing something like this, where you're putting a base or an underpaint, or I'm not sure if underpaint is the right word, but you know, this sort of concept is when you go over it with pencils, if you've got the right colors, you don't have to faff over removing the tooth of the paper as much. And I quite like that because it removes that faff. I often layer up more because I don't really like the tooth of the paper showing up. Yes, and keep adding forever. Yeah, until my patience runs out. Now she's got a sort of like hairpin here, so I'm thinking of doing that in gel pen, because that, you know, to do that with pencil, you're not gonna well, unless you have a lot of patience, I think it's not worth the labor. And I actually think I might leave her hair just the way it is. So she'll have black hair. With these tails, you can definitely add fur texture if you so desire. Okay, I think that's shadow in there. Now I wanted to brighten this red up a little bit, so I might do that in a sec. But I'm thinking for these trees, they've got like a green olive kind of thing going on, so I might bring in some chromium green opaque and a brown and see if I can do some detailing with that. Okay, I've got chrome oxide green. I've got some browns already out, so I don't know if you need a sepia. Maybe try a Van Dyke brown. Okay. Oh, thank you, Noel. I will let him know. Okay, so the chrome oxide green. I was debating whether I should take a paint pen and paint over these tree trunks. But then I even tried going onto Pinterest to see if I could come right on Pinterest But if I put in fantasy trees, green trees, I will get normal brown trees and other like pinky, purpley colors for the leaves, but the tree trunks are still brown. I'm like, oh, this is not what I want. Surely somebody else in this creative world has thought of green tree trunks. But I couldn't find any, so I have to figure it out. Oh, Dawn, I'm so sorry. That is hard. Okay, let's take some Van Dyke Brown. See, what can we do? I'm trying to use the brown to help darken some of the green areas. What kind of green do I need? Maybe just a yellow? Alright, cream. Can we use this? Maybe I should use like a... I have got Prismacolor, so I brought them along in case I needed something to kind of create a smooshy blendy thing going on. Alright, let's get a Prismacolor cream. Let's see, will this work? Alright, let's try maybe a sepia. I did think of using a paint pen to try and create more of the mossy texture on like the branches up top here. It's a little bit more difficult to do that with the tree trunk per se. Okay, because I don't know how to do it with the tree trunk. Oh, okay, fever trees. I think I know them. I have heard of fever trees. Just my brain's not recalling them right now. What I figured, you know what, instead of trying to fix it, try and embrace it and work with it. Yeah, they might be indigenous to South Africa. My favorite South African trees are the jacarandas. Oh my gosh. I just think they're exquisite, especially when they're in full bloom. Oh, they just stopped blooming. Oh man. Yeah, I can imagine the whole city was purple. We had one in outside our house in South Africa before we moved, and I loved it when it bloomed, but then obviously it, like, you know, drops all of its flowers. But I didn't mind because it was sort of outside and out the way. It's just so pretty. Bye, Carly. Have a good week. Yeah, they are messy and slippery when it rains. Okay, so I think I can work with this. I don't want to do too much on here because I don't want it to be the focus of my page. Oh wow, I didn't realize California had jacarandas. That's so cool. There are times where I wish I had the right tree page and I could turn it into a jacaranda tree. All right, there we go. So I think that's slightly better. I'm going to try have those sort of leaves. So we're kind of going for that ginkgo leaf kind of look. Four. No, not that one. I'm just trying to get a few more of those colors, but I'm not. I don't have all of them. Okay. Three. Oh wait, hang on, I did find them. Like, they're hiding. Okay, so gold here. So I'm using green gold, light yellow ochre, dark Naples ochre. So it's kind of going to go that direction. The green gold is the darkest, then it's light yellow ochre, then it's dark Naples ochre, and maybe either prismacolor cream or a Paynes cream. Hi Brittany, how are you? green on there. Okay. I'm using all of these except the Prisma. At least that way it kind of helps to blend it out a bit. And I think I might bring in a paint pen to just cover up where I've brought some of the Neocolor II in. Oh yeah, you got it. I'm so glad. Oh wow, 11 p.m. That's late. Oh my goodness. Okay, and then blend it out with cream and fix it later with paint pen. Oh, fabulous. I'm so glad you got it before Valentine's Day. So back on the tree trunk, I'm going to be flipping between these just so that I can kind of get the colors working, but I think it's not too bad. It could be worse. Okay, then a Prismacolor. So what book have you written, Connie? If that's okay to ask. It's not every day you meet someone who's going to be who's publishing a book. Oh, fabulous! Well done for creating a coloring book. That's really cool. Are you going to sell it internationally or more locally? Bye, Dawn. Have a good week. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, wow. Wow, fabulous. That's so exciting. I'm so glad. Like, wow. It's not every day you get to meet someone who has made a coloring book. So what's the title of the book so we can search for it and support you and all of that? So I'd love to be able to support you in whatever way we can. Okay, cool. All right, I'm getting a sticky note so I can write this down, and then I'm going to go find it on Amazon and make sure that we can support you. Okay, so I'm just gonna, if I don't write it down, I will forget, no matter how much I want to have good intentions. I know myself. I have to write things down. Just helps stick it in my brain. Okay, an Ingram's book. Yeah, there we go. I've written it down, so I won't forget, and I will get onto it as soon as I possibly can. And we'll spread the love and see what we can do for you. It's really important for us to support you guys in whatever way we can, because, you know, it's hard to get when you start off, you know, as an author, to get the sales up and get recognized and all of that. And so every bit helps. And I've regularly heard other colorists comment how much they wish Amazon, you know, offered better choices on paper quality for smaller artists, so that they could get their so that they could actually support newer artists or less known artists. So I think the coloring community really does, for the most part, actually want to support colorists and you know, illustrators. So hopefully we can get the news out a bit more for you. There are so many coloring books compared to what it was like in 2013. It is hard. Right, I don't actually mind these trees too much now. Yay! I can actually be okay with my trees. I'm less annoyed with them. Okay, so I'm gonna swing it back down to here. Turn my page this way. So I think this tree is pretty much done, except for those little things up there, which we can quickly sort out. And that leaves the main image. So I'll probably move on to her skin and her kimono after these trees. You could probably, if you wanted to, base it with a little bit of the Sicilian Yellow, Inktense, you could do that too. I keep telling myself it's fine, just keep to the colors red, green and blue, red, green, blue, yellow. It will be fine. It will still look sensible. Even if it has green tree trunks, it will be okay. this one. Oh dear, my camera's doing it again. It's not focusing. I'm having a lot of issues getting my camera to stay focused. So I move my hand in and out and then the camera doesn't focus, and I, for the life of me, cannot figure out what's changed, because it's only been the past few months that I've had this issue. Okay, so I have got green tree trunks, yellow leaves, yellow building ruins, and let's have a look. So I need a gel pen, which will be more like a gold one. So this is one of my favorite gel pens. And I'm going to leave her hair the way it is. Right, I need like a red. Maybe go reddish. Okay, so at 225, 217, so going to the red section. I need a dark red. I need a middle cadmium red. A deep scarlet red. Deep red, and then a scarlet red. Okay, let's try those. Which is going to be more of a red into an orange. Okay, so I'll use a dark red in here. All right, I'm going to zoom you into a dress so you can see it a bit better. Actually, before I do that, let me go back to my Inktense, and I think if I base it with a good red, it will actually speed it up. So if I use maybe a Chilli Red, and then I can base over that. So I need a Chilli Red. Okay, here we go. So darker, lighter. And what I'll do is I will use a paintbrush to pull out the paint so I can keep my shadows dark. And then I can always use a paint pen to bring in the flowers again. I always draw back the flowers. There's no ways I can color around these flowers. They're just too tiny. No, it's not setting to autofocus. It's not holding the autofocus. I've reset my phone's camera settings, but this is even in Prism, which is the app I use. And it's really frustrating me. But I need to hold off for a while before, because I've thought of maybe I need to get myself a phone that I can just keep as like my video phone. So at the moment I share my phone with my kids. Especially the younger one. And sometimes the autofocus is annoying because you have to click on the image, and then there's got like a little lock button, and I can't get that lock button to lock. I think her collar I might make gold. And I might weave this into white. So like red here, and then maybe make it into white. I use Paynes Grey, where's my Paynes Grey? Even if I go over this with a different color, it's okay because I want the idea kind of here. Okay, move it up. So I can always bring like a gentle blue into that, so it's brings the blue from the background, so that is an option. Or it can just be white, which I'm not sure, I need to check, because white in the Chinese culture is, I think, linked with death, but I don't know if it's the same for Korea. So because she's holding a skull, it might actually work as far as the color choice and the mythology, like connecting the two. But I would need to probably check. Oh, did you read up on her? I haven't read up on her. No, she's got quite a interesting look on her face. Okay, paintbrush is here. To be fair, the Mummy Water one was also not very nice either. I did have a few giggles at that one. To be honest, I figured because she's holding a skull, she's probably not the bee's knees, which is probably quite a thing. She was your favorite to color. Yeah, I really enjoyed coloring her. I thought her treatment of the opposite sex really hit just shocking. But it was a fun page. I really enjoyed it. I'm thinking of maybe doing March as sort of like Myth March or something like that. So maybe do like mythographic, mythic world, mythology, I'm gonna do fairies in February. By doing it this way, I can keep the dark sections dark and make these other bits lighter. And then I can use a pencil to just smooth it out. He is luring the unsuspecting. I think there's a lesson there. Be on your guard, be alert. Very dangerous, yes. And maybe the unsuspecting are just very gullible. I don't know. It's like the sirens. They're also another one that really lures. Even the Skylar and Charybdis page. They work together. It's usually the men. Okay, so that's sort of the idea. And then I can work on top of that. At least doing it this way, I remove a lot of the tooth of the paper. So it's a little bit easier to color. If I want to bring it out, to start out and pull up pigment. So start here. You always start out with your Inktense and then come in, and that helps kind of blend it out. But like here where it's very dark, I don't tend to pull out too much. I tend to just go in and activate it. Okay, I'm not sure how I'm gonna do these wispy clouds. I might just use a pencil for this. Alright, so now my dress is dried. And I can go in again with my pencils. And I don't need to overly fuss. I love how the colors deepen when you activate them. I think it's just beautiful. I do find though Inktense, if you compare the Inktense once it's activated with, say, your Prismacolor pencils, the Prismacolor pencils do have a much brighter look to them. But now if you layer up on it, you know, you can get really beautiful saturation and all of that. So it really does depend on what you're going for. But to do that, I find, you know, it take a lot more layers with the Inktense and a lot more patience with it. So then I come in with my middle cadmium red. Right, then I use deep red. Right, so I think I'm just going to finish her dress today, and then I will hopefully finish up the stonework on the weekend, and then next week, Monday, I can finish off the whole page. So I'm just going to finish this part of her dress. Then I'm going in with deep scarlet red. I do want her kimono to be as deep a red as I possibly can make it. So I might even go into the shadows with a grey or something along those lines, just to make it a bit more kind of like highlighted. Okay, and then we finish off with Scarlet Red. Use a warm grey 5. Just come in here and make my deep shadows. There you go. So that just accents it for us. Okay, I'm going to zoom you out and you can see how it's taking shape. A little bit more. Oh, there we go. Right, so that's how it's looking so far. There's still a lot that needs to be done. I need to build up the tail, finish this area here, still work on the background. I'm hoping I can do more with it off camera this week, maybe even on the weekend. But yes, it's not too bad, and I think we've making the green tree trunks work. So thank you so much everyone for joining, for hanging out, and I will put up on the community tab Connie's book, coloring book for Valentine's Day, as soon as I found all the details and the links. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Connie, and I look forward to seeing you all next week, Monday, same time, same place, probably with the same page, just to wrap it up and finish it. But really enjoyed chatting to... I can definitely try finish it live on Monday if I can. I just need to make sure I prioritize you know, all the other bits. Even if I do it like a video, separate video, but put it to music where I'm not talking, but I'm just focusing on, you know, the rest of the background and these ruins, and then upload that to the community, and then finish it hopefully on next week, Monday. So see you guys then. Thanks so much for hanging out, and have a great week doing all things coloring. Until next time, everyone. Bye.